Okay, let's take a look at entering in a new contact and what we can do when we're working with contacts within the iOS device. So from the main screen we can select Contacts, which will bring us through to our list view screen. So we can see our full name on the left hand side here, the mobile and the address. If we select the icon on the right hand side with the two people, we're brought through to our contacts screen. So from here down the bottom we have our plus or minus, and we have the ability to add a new record from here. So we can select new record and it automatically brings us up to the vendor icon. So down the bottom left hand corner we can see that we've got next, which will take us through to our next button. So if we want to type information in here, we can enter in their information. So seeing as they're not a vendor yet, we'll just leave that information blank. They are a buyer, yes, so we can select buyer, yes, and continue on with our categories. So they're a hot buyer, they're going to go into our hot buyer category list. They've phoned in from viewing our information on the internet. So we can select internet, and it's going to tab us through to our next record. The record we're working on at the moment is George. And again, we just keep selecting next to go to the next record. Smith. And does he have a company that we know? And we can just go through, fill in his information for his job title. And then we can start filling in his contact details. So his work number. So I've just typed all that information in the one block and it's going to automatically separate that information for the phone number for us. So back over to the numbers again. It's the same with the mobile number. We can fill in his home address, it's the same. And we've jumped down to his email address. So we've got george@gmail.com. We can select the email icon there if we want to send him an email, or we can use one of the templates from the top. So he's currently living at 11 Barn Hill Road, Terrigal, State New South Wales. And our postcode. So we can see here on our Google map, it's automatically brought up the address for us. If we were to select on this icon, it brings up the map for the full screen. So we can get a bigger view, we can go in there and we can search where we are at the moment and get some directions to that address if we need to. Once we're finished, we just select done in the top right hand corner and it'll bring us back to our data entry screen. So we can go through on the right hand Contact2 side and we can fill in all of their partners' details if they have a partner. Once we get down to the greeting, we can see that it's automatically filled in the dear in the address line for us, so we don't need to do anything here unless we want to change that to more of a nickname or something like that. Got our present housing, owning a home at the moment. We've got our Christmas card, yes. Any other information, are they in some sort of other club? Would they like to receive our newsletter? And then we can type in some notes. So if we click on the arrow on the right hand side, it's going to automatically drop in the person we're logged in as, the current date and the current time, just like the regular desktop system. So we've just got phoned in from the internet. As soon as we click on the grey screen, it's going to save our information for us. We can keep working through. We've got our buyer information. So the buyer price range. Our property type that they're looking for, the construction, anything brick, beds, bath, cars they may be looking for. And we can keep scrolling down. We've got features, motivation, the suburbs. And we can just keep clicking through those and it's going to enter those in. Have they put a new property inquiry in? We can select the property that they've inquired on. It gives us our drop down list here of all the properties that we've currently got for sale. So we've got one Barn Hill for sale, so we can put in any comments that they might have regarding this property once we've spoken to them about it. Any activities, if we want to set up a new activity. Brings up our calendar for us. So the next activity could be in 2 days' time. It is for Lee Woodward. Activity type will be a phone call. And it's a follow-up call. And he's going to make sure he sets up a new trail from that call. Once we've got all that information in, if they are looking at going through an inspection, we can add a new inspection, or we could add in a new appraisal or a listing. If we jump back up to the top of the screen, we can have a look at sending an SMS. So we've got all our SMS templates here that we can send. So this is one way we can do it. We can use our templates, which will use our SMS provider that we use in our desktop version. If we just want to use the SMS if we're on an iPhone, we can select the phone icon next to the mobile number. That will send out the SMS as well. So while we're on iPads, we do need to use the select and send templates. And it goes through and puts in all the information for us. From there, we just need to send the SMS. And we've received a success. So we click done. And we can jump back through to our contact. The same with our emails. We can select one of our templates from our emails and send it through. So we've got our new buyer email. Would we like to print, cancel, or email this? We can select email and it'll bring up the email that we have. We can go through, we can make any changes. So if we want to get rid of this top section, we can remove that out because it's not a letter. And we can go through and make any changes that we like and click send, and that's going to send this out for us. So just cancel for now and we'll delete the draft. And we'll jump back into our contact details. So the other things that we can do from here if we want to send an email is we can select email from next to their name. And that's just going to put Dear George in there. So Dear from the Dear field within the contact screen. We can type in any text. And then we can click send and that's going to send that off. So we'll just cancel for now. So the different finds that we can do in here, we can find on a name, we can enter find mode, find on basically any field that we have in the system there. And we can also do some group finding if we want to enter find mode. We can clear out our existing find. We can find all the buyers in the database. And we'll just perform that find. By selecting perform find, we've got 23 records currently in our database. So we can use the arrows down the bottom here to flick through those records. So we've got Mr. Slater and Hulk Hogan. What we can do is we can enter back into find mode. If we want to constrain this found set a little more, we can say no here to removing the last find, so we can see that by yes is still ticked. And then if we scroll down the screen, we can jump into suburbs and we can fill in a suburb that we might be looking for. So we might only want the buyers within a certain suburb. That's Bedrock. We can see now we've only got 12 records instead of the 23. So this is how we're constraining our found sets to work with fewer people. So we can keep adding more information in and more information, and that's going to find us a smaller found set. So on the other side of that, we can also find people from one place or another. So we might want to find everyone that's looking in either Bedrock or Neverland. So we want to find everyone that is a buyer, but they have to be looking for a property within Bedrock or Neverland. So what we can do is we can go back into enter find mode. We won't get rid of our find that we currently have. So we've got buyer yes, and we've got our suburb Bedrock. Now we don't want to enter Neverland straight into here because we want to find anyone that's either Bedrock or Neverland. So what we can do here is we can duplicate our find request. So we've got two requests here, we can see at the bottom here. Our first one is buyer yes in the suburbs of Bedrock. Our second one has the same criteria, so we've got buyer yes in the suburb of Bedrock. And we're just going to change this Bedrock now to Neverland. So now we're looking for anyone that's a buyer yes, looking for a property in Neverland or Bedrock. So we can perform our find. We've now got 16 records instead of the 2. So each of these records has a buyer looking for a property either in Neverland or in Bedrock. So we can do these finds on basically any field within the database. That's how we can go through, and we can keep adding find requests, so we can add as many of those as we like. Once we've got that information, we can print out our chart if we like, or we can go back into list view and work through these records.